Welcome back to CVM at Sunrise. It's Friday, so that means it's time for Day 10 Hot Topics. Joining me this morning, I have Alex A. Game. He's a recording artist. I'm also joined by Joyce White. She's a student at the University of the West Indies. And we have Mary White. They're not related. She's an author, motivational speaker, and a Toastmaster. Gentlemen, ladies, good morning and welcome to CVM at Sunrise.
Good morning.
All right, so it's hot topics time. And so we're going to start out with domestic violence. We've been seeing a lot of cases coming to the fore. We're seeing a lot of videos, circulating on social media. Earlier this year, there was a study that showed that 1 in 5 women who experience domestic violence or abuse from their partner stayed silent. That was about 80% of the persons who were in the sample. The majority of persons only told their friends, but less than 20% of the persons told the police. What more can be done in terms of educating people about what domestic violence even is? What do you think, Joyce?
I think personally, I would need to shatter this silence that's going on, because women would think that probably they personally feel that they did something wrong. So they're like, oh, it's better I not say what is going on. I think we need to help women to understand that you did nothing wrong. I think that's what we really need to get women to understand. You're not the cause of what is going on with you. You did not ask this upon yourself. I think we really need women to understand that this is not your fault.
You're at the campus of the University of the West Indies now.
Yes.
Do you think a lot of the girls there, or the guys as well, understand that it's wrong to beat a woman, or a woman understand that it's wrong to beat a man?
I think this is bigger than the university. I think this is worldwide. This is our gender roles. We expect women to be, subservient to men, and I think the whole culture that we were grown up in, I don't think it's necessarily per se a university thing that we need to understand. I think it's a culture thing that we need to understand, that women and girls were not really subservient to men, and I think that's where we go wrong. I think that's where we go wrong.
Mary, you actually have a child, so you have a role now to play in terms of how you train that child to think. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, she's actually no longer a child. She's now an adult of about 28. But in my investigative writings, having to talk to the people that I gathered the story for my book, Glass Houses, one of the stories in there called Snapped spoke very clearly to the issue. There was this woman who was married for about 30 years to a man who beat her. And she didn't even disclose this to her parents. And when I asked her why, she said to me that, for one, she was ashamed, not even to tell her friends, because the shame of knowing that this man was this respected public figure.
He had power.
Yes.
He had authority in society.
And she was supposed to be this trophy wife. And for her to go disclose when they are in public and they look so perfect together, and for her to go disclose even to her friends and family that this man was abusing her physically, was just too shameful for her to even think of mentioning it. Eventually, she snapped, as is the title of the story, and one day, as he was beating her, she literally almost choked him to death, and then filed for divorce, of course. But I think shame is one of those factors that keep us women, even as girlfriends, when our boyfriends do something bad, we don't want to disclose that.
Have you ever had that talk with your daughter to let her know what domestic violence is and that there's something wrong with it?
Yes.
Has that ever?
Yes, we have, because she too was in a relationship that was less than above board. He didn't abuse her physically, but he used psychological abuse to keep her sedated and to get her to do what he wanted. As a mother, to watch that happening to your child is very, very brutal. Because I tried talking to her, like saying, Chris, you have to snap out of this, but it's like when they're in there, when you're in a situation, you can't see it.
It's just me and him.
Just you and him. Yes. And it wasn't until she actually got out of that situation and had moved on to another relationship where she saw that this was not the right way, was not a good relationship, that she recognized that he was abusing her psychologically.
So it was important to keep the line of communication open between her mother. Alex A. Game, I want to bring you in here.
For sure.
Lots of artists are singing songs about him. Beat a woman, if your man a beat you, come see me, that sort of thing. What can the artists do to change the narrative that is out there? In Jamaica, for example.
Well, I think that, you know, we as artists have a big platform, a very huge platform, you understand, and when things like this become an issue in a society, I think it's very important that we shine a light on it, you know. My personal, you know, opinion is that, you know, especially for this situation, the first thing I thought of when you mentioned the topic was that, you know, pride has broken more hearts than love ever did. You know, and, you know, as Mary just mentioned, we can call her Mary, right?
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
As Mary just mentioned, you know, the fact of, you know, women being ashamed of them things. We know fear go already, you know, so it's pride and shame. Pride and fear, sorry. You know, so, you know, I see it as we can shine a lot more light on it, you know, make sure that people feel more comfortable coming forward with them things and, you know,
Speaking of to shatter the silence.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of shattering the silence, in Jamaica we have no statute of limitation on when you can report for carnal abuse and rape. In America it is a little different. Do you think that's okay, or should we put a statute of limitation in place?
I say whatever it takes to make sure, you know, we eradicate it. And whatever it takes, even if it's a measure that is we have to take to a certain any extent. You know, it's a problem. Me personally, I always say this, and people, you know, them take it for joke, but I find myself as, you know, being a feminist. Yeah.
Nothing. Women need
I grew up with a mother, 2 sisters, and, you know, a whole heap of great women in my life for make sure somebody good, you know, growing up, you know. So I could have never stand to see, mind you, I never see this happen in my home or my family, but I could have never stand to see or even hear about a case where a woman is being abused, or, you know. Of course, you know, men are being abused as well, but we don't know, say, you know, in the world, you know, in terms of power and physical power, of course, and even sometimes mental and emotional power, you know, men hold that a lot of the time. So I always feel the need to stand up for women a certain way.
All right. Still keeping on trend with women, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so, you know, there's always the pink ribbon that is shone, and everybody knows, okay, pink is associated with breast cancer awareness. But what are your thoughts on it? Do you think the money is really going to any sort of research, or it's just a moment where corporate social responsibility and, you know, companies just shine and say, I'm putting on an event? Joyce, what do you see?
Personally, I do believe that the funds are being put towards good use. I believe they're helping women. I do believe that they're doing more with the money than we see, because oftentimes the highlight is in this month where you say, come out and help us raise some funds. You know, we have the marathons, we have the sales, but I think what they also need to do is that at the end, this is what we did, this is how many women we helped, this is where the funds went. Probably just allow persons to know that we did something afterwards, because a lot of the highlight is placed on the event, the fundraising event. But what we need to now do is say, this is what we did and this is how many persons we impacted with what the income that we generated.
I'll challenge you and tell you that there are lots of articles and photo ops in the Glean and in the Observer of companies saying this is what we did. But the thing is that it's really just promotion for the company to say, hi, I'm Amashika and Associates, and I allowed one woman to do a mammogram. So it almost looks like self-promotion as opposed to helping the cause.
Yeah.
Mary, any thoughts on this?
I don't have a problem with it, because I believe that that's just how life is. Life is twofold. There's no action without a reaction. So if you do something to help someone, you're going to get something out of it, and they're going to get something out of it. So I don't get too skeptical about the companies doing a little thing to build the awareness of their brand as well. Because when you come into contact with people who actually have cancer and who have gotten the help, like I have, one of the stories I'm working on now is a survivor. The Cancer Society of Jamaica is doing a great job. She is doing her chemotherapy, and if the facilities were not there, she would not have been able to get this help, because it's a regular person. Once upon a time, when I thought of cancer, I thought of people far and removed from me. I thought of
like
people,
it would never happen.
It would never happen. Know that I am seeing people like myself, regular people, are battling with cancer and have to go through the process. She lost her hair. When I saw her one day and she was bald, it's like I was shocked to see. I saw this healthy looking person one day, and the next day I was looking at a very sick person.
So swift.
And then now, the bright side of the light is, A couple months later, I saw her and her hair was growing back. And she told me her story of her journey of going through the chemo and doing her little fish fry to raise money as well, along with the help from some companies that are doing the promotions of themselves. That has helped her to come back. And she's really a survivor.
What a lot of persons will say is that, say you pay for 100 women to get the mammograms, but then you're going to take out a full-page ad in the Observer or the Gleaner to now promote it. So that money that you spend to promote yourself could have gone to more women benefiting. But that's another thing. No. Alex, what's your
that's very much arguable, you know, because as somebody who built a brand myself, you know, where of course you see that even while you're helping people, you have to help yourself.
Absolutely.
And some of the times you have to shine light on the good, because trust me, when the bad happens, you never shine the light, you know. Everybody has to shine it.
Shine it for you,
and we see where that can be beneficial in many ways, you know, the future, where people can, you know, draw back and say, yo, you did this, you did this, you did this, because sometimes you need them reference there. Also, what I find that is that, you know, like sometimes when you do good and you shine a light on it, it kind of spark more people for do the same too. That's
like a Misery Love Company.
Yeah.
Positivity Loves Company
that is
too.
True, yeah, for sure.
Of the change in narrative.
Yeah.
Positivity loves company.
Yes.
See there? So sometimes when people see the effect of what it does for you, even as a company and as a brand, how it build you, help you, people will chip in. I see that happen a lot of times, especially even with, like, you know, my...
Even if their intentions are not good, the women that are getting the help. So we thank God for that, you know?
Somebody is benefiting.
Somebody is benefiting.
All right, another topic as we close off, who to watch. Let's start out with in sports. Who have you been keeping up with? What is the latest in sports for you? Anybody that you admire? No, you're not a big sports fan?
Honestly.
Alex, A-game?
Who to watch?
Yeah.
Personally, right now, the star me I bring, Leon Bailey. Footballer.
I see.
Yeah, Leon Bailey, I believe in him.
Mary?
I'm bringing from my hometown of St. Ann, Mount Pleasant football team.
St. Ann?
Talk
okay, so they're going good for real. They're going good. Hear about it.
Good management, good systems, it's just good
and they're
all
in the league right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Mary, has somebody tell you that answer?
Why would you think I'm from St. Ann? Why do you think somebody would have to tell?
Where is St. Ann from?
Ocherias.
Oh, I'm from Discovery Bay.
All right. In terms of politics, anybody that you're looking out for, watching the policies, what their views are, utterances in the public? Anybody for you, Alex?
No, not necessarily.
Nobody has impressed you?
Politics-wise,
or any policy that you see that makes sense?
To be honest, I've not been paying attention, but you know, in terms of just overall public presentation, I like how Damien Crawford talk.
Me too. He's on my list. He's on my list.
Anybody in politics for you, Joyce?
Not necessarily politics, but I'm really interested in the plastic ban that is going on now, and I'd really like to see what's the outcome of that for the green economy. I'd really like to know what's going to become of that come January 2019. So that's what I'm really focused on.
All right. And Mary?
But I have two. I chose one from the JLP and one from the PNP to balance it. So Damien Crawford is mine, and PM Andrew Holness is the other for the JLP, because both of them I think have something in common.
What's that?
They are both appealing to the youth, and they're both relatable. I think, so when I look at both of them, I see that line that connects both of them, even though they're on the opposite side of the divide.
Well, they go to Parliament together.
True.
So they would be going to Parliament together.
So they have more in common than we think they do.
Indeed. Well, if Damien becomes an MP...
The fact that Mary did that disclaimer, I mean, about that disclaimer, just so you know, I'm not really taking no side. I just like how Damien Crawford talk. We just like him talk and present himself as a youth, and you know, it's a good
speaking to the youth.
Yeah, just in general, and very, what I say, transparent. Him not talk like somebody who has a PNP or JLP, even though you don't name half of on a side. Like him talk. Disclaimer.
So Andrew Holness have that trait as well.
Yeah, Andrew,
Andrew both of them.
A long time I hear him talk still.
Andrew, well, he's traveling.
Because I really listen when he come on to the political forums, but even just overall, like, you know, just, you know, in society overall.
All right, and as we close in business, anybody to watch? Any businesses doing good things?
Jamaica Stock Exchange. They're on the top of my list. I'm so proud to be a Jamaican.
When you hear this good news,
Oh my
good
God.
news being rippled across the world.
Butterflies. I have butterflies. When I hear news like this, because I'm a Jamaican without a passport, without a visa, obviously not going anywhere. So I so pray for Jamaica to excel. And for that to get worldwide, so that people see that we're Lickle, but with Talawa. Yes?
Joyce, anybody for you? Any business
Definitely
for you?
on that note, I would like, not because I'm a student, but I'm really proud that the University of the West Indies has been placed in the top 5 in the world. So really, Jamaica, we're little, but we're Talawa, you know, because this little island, we're in top 5 in the world for universities. So definitely we are being offered quality education, and we know that education can solve a lot of problems, especially in Jamaica, given that we have so many. Not because of my affiliation, just letting you know, just saying that that's something also to be proud of.
Oh, all disclaimers this
Right.
morning.
Proud Pelican, you know, proud Pelican.
You said the piece of the
All right, I want to thank you all for sharing on these hot topics with me this morning and with all of our viewers. And what should we be talking about in 10 days' time? Not sure?
Not sure.
10 days, I think the cyber situation
Security.
will still be...
Exploring more of that. Alex,
You just said it.
cybersecurity.
Alex A game.
We should be talking about Alex A game.
I will.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. We're up on a break. It's now time for the news with Whitney Levy. More CBM at Sunrise when we continue.